Juice the rest of them. I shouldn't have. Fuck!
just a misleading kind of joke or metaphor. It was literal.
Not very literal. When you go to space, when you go to space, you come back home with a useless husk. And then the world rightfully thinks of you as useless. It's time to just kill yourself. That's what the book's about.
So I wonder if Gaddafi ever met any astronauts, like if he ever encountered Neil Armstrong or John Glenn or anybody.
Oh, that would be, God, that would be wild. He would, I'll tell you what, don't tell Buzz Aldrin that stuff, Buzz Aldrin will punch you.
Yeah, let's see. I'm just gonna type in Gaddafi and see if he met any astronauts on one of his trips to the States.
I'm telling you, Sean, we're onto something. Gaddafi's space program failed, so then space must be fucked somehow. So the astronauts must die.
Yeah, because it wasn't his fault.
Yeah, it wasn't his fault. Also, always remember when everything goes wrong, he always blames somebody else in the country because he's not really in charge. Never forget that.
I think how Gaddafi, I'm getting a little more. You guys know more about Gaddafi than I do. But I think it was he had this idea of like we're going to put Africa into space, which is a similar idea to what Zaire tried in the 1970s. You know, what's it, Adam Curtis? Which one was it? I think it was All Watched Over by Machines of Loving Grace. They just show like one of the Zaire missiles just go off and then just crash.
Gaddafi actually had this little missile thing like that. One of the things he had in response to the airstrikes was there was an American military base kind of nearby Libya. I forget exactly where it was, but he fired a couple of missiles at it, and the missiles fell short and fell into the water. The people from the airbase just watched it go into the water.
When was this?
That was it. That was right after Reagan bought his house.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know you said you might have to leave at 11, so we'll probably have to proceed a bit quicker now. I think I got some safer chats for you too.
I'll say this one more thing too. I think if he sees it, the missiles hit the base, we kill some Americans. If they hit the ocean, we'll fuck the ocean anyway.
So whales deserve it, man.
So fuck that. For Gaddafi, it's a win-win.
Yeah, kill some fish, man.
So, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Sean?
What? I said nothing. I said nothing.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we lost you for a second. I was like, wait, hold on.
No, I said nothing. Oh, I must have said that after I get mute, because you know.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So, I was just gonna say, I mean, that's all my notes. And to wrap things up, I guess I'm just curious about you guys' opinion about his overthrow in the Arab Spring.
Well, I know Derek wanted to talk about his quiet period as well in the 90s.
Well,
I don't really have one thing. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say I don't really have anything else to add on the quiet period. That's why I brought it up, because I couldn't really find much.
I do have one more thing to add on the quiet period. This is when he decided to fund some funk albums. I did find somebody online who said they're trying to compile the songs and try to like get the albums released in like high def. Well, not high def, but whatever the was it high def? I don't know, but like better quality sound quality. But anyway, I have found a few of the tracks. They are pro-Gaddafi funk songs, and I don't know, some of the tracks are awfully good. Also, if you look, I think it's the second picture here on the left. I think that's one of the album covers.
Damn.
Or no, wait, I'm sorry. The one above here where he's got the rainbow.
Like the rainbow with this picture?
Go up, scroll up. That one. I think that's one of the album covers.
Oh yeah, also, these are MiG-25 Fox Bats, by the way, so he's very fucking proud of those.
Yeah.
That's pretty boss, man. That's pretty boss.
Yeah, so, this is one of these things I need to look more into because, like, I couldn't definitively find, like, some of the definitive tracks, and there were people who actually had done, like, covers of some of the songs, and some of them they don't even have subtitles, so I don't even know what the song's even saying. So, there's one of these things I gotta look at a little bit more, but it also looks like he had a thing for funk music.
You ever saw it reminds me of that with Dictators of Music. You ever saw the documentary Heavy Metal in Baghdad?
Yeah, that's a good documentary.
That's a pretty good one. They talk about how they made a heavy metal band when Saddam was in charge, and they had to register, and the guy was like, hey, well, you gotta do something for Saddam. So they had a Saddam metal song, a pro-Saddam metal song.
And Uday Hussein for life. That's my guy.
Yeah, he's a psychopath.
Well, also, he's totally inept, too.
He loves bad movies as much as I do, and he also loves firing machine guns in the air. I enjoy that, too.
No, so, I guess, yeah, you want to get into why he chooses at a certain point to start interacting with the West. You want to get into that, or do you have anything else to say?
Yeah, I mean, he gets rid of his nuclear arms.
Well, you're saying that apparently his weapons of mass destruction were just leaky mustard gas canisters.
Yes.
There were no biological weapons. He had certain components for nuclear weapons, but he didn't have enough technicians who could actually do anything with them.
Yeah, see, when I read about the missile incident, I kind of figured, I was like, wait, was he actually a nuclear threat to anybody? I don't think so.
The impression I get right now is that Gaddafi is looking at his country and being like, I need economic development. And I see what they just did to Saddam in Iraq. So I think Gaddafi decided, Saddam with his antagonisms towards the West had Saddam's antagonist in the West and pretending he had weapons of mass destruction when he didn't, had caused all these problems. So I should get rid of all these right now and head them off because I'm next in the chopping block. Because you also remember, if you believe General Wesley Clark said he's essentially given a list of all the countries America was going to, fuck around with in the Middle East, and Libya was on the list.
Although he didn't make the axis of evil, though, because remember, Bush named North Korea, Iran, Iraq.
Yeah, I think Bush was keeping it at 3.
I can't remember more than that.
I think Gaddafi's thinking, as soon as they're done Iraq, I'm the next one.
Yeah.
And, remember, keep in mind, he had an antagonistic relationship with Israel for a long time. And remember, George W. Bush, George W. Bush is the president who got on the phone and said, the West Bank settlement thing, we don't care anymore. And apparently Ariel Sharon had to have Bush say that back to him several times to believe him, that he was given a blank check.
Yeah, please repeat. Please repeat that. Please repeat that. That sort of thing. So apparently, that's it. So I think Gaddafi's looking around and being like, they've invaded Iraq, they've destroyed Saddam, they've killed him, these Arab countries don't have my back, I'm economically and diplomatically isolated, I can just be taken out like this. I'm going to avoid that. And furthermore, I've got to do that because this current president, George W. Bush, is the most pro-Israel president that America had up to that point. And then, of course, then there's Trump, so then debatably Biden. So regardless of all that, a lot of things going through Gaddafi's mind, I've got to make a deal. And apparently the guy who was instigating that deal was Tony Blair. So he gives up weapons of mass destruction that he has, which are barely anything, and then he gets to have fashion magazine articles and panels with British intellectuals and go talk before the UN. And he does get a lot of money and starts using it. Apparently he built some really excellent irrigation system in Libya, among other things. Yeah, he built that river.
The great man-made river.
Oh yes, and actually that was probably arguably one of the biggest successes of his whole life. Now he did build it at a time when Libya's economy was shit, but
Okay, I thought he built it after. I'm sorry, I misheard that. My bad.
No, it actually never got completed.
But
really?
At one point though, I think it was supplying something like 55% of Libya's population with fresh water. Was that river?
Yeah, I mean, he's actually, like, if we're talking about the good parts of Gaddafi, because mostly talk about the goofy shit and the bad shit, but the reason why he did have support for as long as he did and why a lot of people still miss him is because he actually is very good about building infrastructure and developing the country. And it's not just this project. The literacy rate went up to 88%, and I don't know what it was when he took power, but it was probably low double digits, so it skyrocketed under him. Life expectancy went up to 74.5.
Yeah, but he didn't want the kids of Libya to be, basically grow up illiterate like he did.
Right. He also, and I think this was not long before Arab Spring, and it played a part in it, one of his initiatives in the late 2000s was to purchase laptops with satellite internet for every child in Libya, because he said that they should all have access to education and the benefits of the information age. And then people used those laptops to talk on Facebook and plan the revolt.
God.
But yeah, I mean, he did do some things that were actually positive, and the country developed a fair amount. I mean, Libya went from being one of the poorest countries in Africa to being one of the top 5 or so by the time he died in terms of development. It's pretty dramatic.
The guy knew how to work the geopolitical world to get money and weapons and support and all that. I mean, he knew how to do it. He knew how to play the game.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, he definitely did. And I mean, God, if only he were a better writer.
Yeah, no. I mean, or if he understood anything about military strategy.
I mean, I don't fucking like space either. So, I mean, when I read Suicide of the Astronaut, I'm like, okay, there's not some bad ideas here.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard all sorts of things that he was talking about, getting out of some international banking system or something, stuff to do with Africa. Some of the stuff smells like conspiracy theories, but then again, lots of conspiracy theories, right? I don't know a lot about it. I think you guys might be overstating
Kill yourself!
to work the world. I mean,
Come
he's
on!
definitely popular in certain areas of the world, and he definitely seems to have been popular in a lot of African countries. But this may be pretty diplomatically isolated for a lot of his career.
No, man.
At the same time, though, he didn't get sucked in anybody's orbit. Which, I mean, a lot of dictators in third world countries got sucked into the orbits of more powerful neighbors. So he was able to avoid that.
This is true, but I think one thing we're forgetting about Gaddafi that allows him to avoid that and allows him to do some of this stuff is that he has oil.
Yes, and he used that leverage really well.
Yeah, like I said, I think that's how he really knows how to play the game, is he knows how to leverage what they have. And also, he did seem like when he was on country's good side, he was able to get a lot of resources from them, but then once he inevitably fucks it all up, then he just kind of moves on to the next one. Like, he really was almost like dating the world.
Right.
And I guess he decided, he'd never really been with an American woman, and he needed to be with one, for his, for another notch on his belt. I think we could go on all night about what else happens with the implications of that. I'm going to say this, there's a rebellion in Libya, and we turn our backs on it almost right away.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. And also, if I'm not mistaken, we also kept him from escaping the country.
Yes, well, he attacked his caravan was attacked, and that's how he gets caught and murdered horribly, by the way. Mussolini got off easy compared to this stuff.
No, he was super funny about it.
Yeah, no, Gaddafi, his downfall, when it started, it was a revolt that he had in hand, and actually there's an interview where he's very cocky, and there's a reporter asking him in English, well, the whole country's in revolt, how are you going to deal with it? And he said it in a really verbose manner. So this reporter took forever. He's like, "You've been in power a long time. You've done a lot of stuff. How do you know this revolt?" And Gaddafi just laughs and says, "What's the question?" Because obviously he's thinking, "I'm just going to send in tanks and it's going to end in 2 seconds." But that's not what happened, because Secretary of State Hillary Clinton convinced Obama to intervene on humanitarian grounds to prevent the slaughter of the rebels.
Yes, and there's always been debate about, is this because Israel wanted to get rid of Libya the whole time for a long time and they always get their way? That's what I hear a lot of people say right now. The one I said at the time was that Hillary Clinton needs something to look impressive, since she's going to try to run again. Although I didn't say it at the time. I said that later. It should have been obvious that she was going to run again. But something in my head thought that she might not, I guess. But stupid me. So there's the idea that Hillary Clinton did all that just because of that. There also had been reports before that, by the way, that Hillary Clinton found Gaddafi absolutely repulsive. Like, this is the man that she saw as like the most disgusting example of what men are and needed to die. I heard this long before even that shit happened. I heard that Hillary Clinton found Gaddafi just disgusting. And not been overly joyful about George W. Bush even having conversations with the guy. So something to keep in mind too. Not gonna have a ton of friends. But sometimes behind closed doors and whatnot. So I've heard all of these. I know Gaddafi at the time was saying, "Why are you doing this to me?" One of the reasons he said was that he was keeping migrants out of Africa from getting to Europe. He just straight up said that.
Right.
What he was doing. That's one of the things he was doing.
Right.
Yeah, and also he had, I think he trusted Obama more than he trusted any previous president. Then Obama is just like, "Well, I guess you're fucked, buddy."
Well, that's interesting you say that because if I remember right in the 80s, he was making statements like, America needs to treat black people better, and if they don't, they should rebel against America, or words to that effect.
Yeah, in his UN speech, he says that he wanted a full investigation into the death of Martin Luther King and JFK.
And Kennedy. Yeah. So, that's interesting. So Gaddafi, look, the idea that being friends with America can be dangerous. I mean, that's Kissinger, paraphrasing Henry Kissinger there, but that's gone back for a while, right? But it's gotten particularly bad lately.
Right. And if I'm not mistaken...
Yep.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I remember seeing a picture of, I saw this picture a few years ago of, like a Zelensky with a frown, and, in heaven there's like Gaddafi, Bin Laden, ZM, they're all waiting for him to come join them. Gaddafi, hey, the Americans backed us too at one time,
Yeah, hey, we had American support, remember that? Yeah, boy, ZM's assassination picture, that's a tough one to look at too. Like, yes. You always think of a guy getting gunned down, and you're like, oh, okay, that's probably better than what some people get, and you're like, you look at ZM's gunned down picture, and you're like, oh my god, he's shit-housed.
Well, also with the Gaddafi's downfall, it will take months. So the initial Arab Spring uprising is in February or March 2011, and then his eventual capture is not until October. But my favorite part of it is when we had the Joint Strike Force to back up Libya with bombing, and one of his palaces got bombed, and he almost died in the bombing. So he made a video in the ruins of this palace, and he made himself in shadow. So all you see is his outline. You see him angrily shake his fist.
Wow.
In the video, and I can't find that fucking video, but I distinctly remember seeing it. And
he did do one in front of the thing that got hit by Reagan. He did do a press conference in front of that with that statue with the fist holding the airplane.
Yes,
right.
The anti-airstrike statue. Yeah. That thing. I love that thing. Like Derek said, it's very subtle.
Yeah. So I mean, if we look at this thing, you'll notice it has an American flag. It says USA, and then up here it says fighter. So that way you know what kind of airplane it is, because this is to celebrate the one F-111 Aardvark he shot down. So imagine fighting a war, and you only get one kill, and you build a monument to celebrate the one kill you got, when a whole bunch of SAM sites and radar stations were destroyed.
Well, there's evidence that I think on the Yom Kippur War, the Egyptian Air Force made up an air battle where they beat the Israelis.
Yes.
Do not hold me to that. I'd have to look way more into that one. But there's debate about this air battle that some people think Egypt's just making it up.
I wouldn't put it past Egypt to do something like that. I mean, I think I've told you guys before, but one of the recent trends in Egypt is that, so obviously 100 or so years ago we found Sumer, and Sumer's older than ancient Egypt. So some Egyptian-born Egyptologists have randomly decided, actually everything in Egypt is 2,000 years older than we thought, which is way older than Sumer. So fuck Sumer.
Yeah, you're just like, well, it's a good thing we found it. A good thing we found this new information just now.
Yeah, we just randomly happened to find it out.
Yes. There's, well, I mean, you'll run into that all over the world, right? Like, the idea that we found all this other stuff that we had nothing, that said group had nothing to do with.
Such a bad name,
yeah, you run into that quite a bit. I just think it's funny. Stuff like that is always like nationalism's going away. I'm like, I somehow doubt it.
Yeah, and you know what? I think the best conclusion of this is that like Gaddafi dying like he did on TV. I mean, I think all three of us have said one variation of this one way or another. That became clear to the world that hey, if America has your back, you're probably dead now.
Yeah, right. But certainly that you really can't talk. You certainly can't trust the Americans. The Americans not negotiating in good faith. the degree to which that was true in the past can be debated. I think it's become much worse in the 21st century, but my contention has always been that American foreign policy, one of the reasons it's so poor, and one of the reasons we get involved in so many wars and then don't care what happens afterwards, is we're never really affected. I mean, Danny, is it a stretch to say that here in Louisiana is the last place a foreign army actually invaded this continent? I mean, this country? Do you think do you think anybody since the British tried to take New Orleans?
Yeah, the people in the American South are some of the only people whose ancestors were occupied.
Yeah, I mean, like by other Americans
happening on their soil.
But by other Americans who tried to have as nice of a peace as they could for a civil war, that is, to try to bring them back in the fold. I'm talking about like a true foreign country invades.
Right. It wasn't like your typical civil war where after it was over, the winning side slaughters the losing side.
Yeah, I just like, I mean, America's always been, America's always had that cowboy thing going on, and you can just ask CM about how much you trust us, but at the same time, it seems like it's gotten worse, and Gaddafi was indicative of that, and nothing's quite changed since then. One thing's for sure, it definitely influenced the way that Russia, China, and other countries acted afterwards.
Right.
And he really played nice with us.
Yeah, and also, you can't forget too, I mean, and y'all might be able to look this up, because I think somebody told me this, but they said that Kim Jong-un actually referenced Gaddafi in a speech and said something to the effect of like, well, this is what happens when you play ball with Americans.
Well, think what the North Koreans say. We were smarter. We told you all to go to hell. Now we have nukes. You'll never attack us.
Right.
And what do you know? The leadership of North Korea is smarter than Gaddafi. There we go. The end.
Well, right. I mean, Gaddafi's back is against the wall, and he's like, all right, what's my move here? And it's like, well, clearly we weren't the move.
So an interesting thing too about Gaddafi is that since he's died, I think almost everybody now agrees, and this is not just in America, but more or less throughout the world, that Libya was better off with him in power. So that's an interesting conclusion that a lot of people have made, because I bet you if he hadn't died, if he had hung on the power, there would be no appreciation of him right now, not a bit.
Yes,
it would be the opposite. Yeah. So in some ways, we actually did do the man a solid by overthrowing him, because his overthrow means his reputation has become elevated, and people have these memories of him as being way more competent, effective, and everything else than he actually was.
Well, this Derek gets the idea that did the Titanic really sink, insofar as the Titanic is at the bottom of the ocean, right?
Sure.
But you're talking.
Yeah.
Think of all the successful ocean liners nobody talks about. They simply had nice, quiet times. Everybody enjoyed themselves. Well, not everybody, most people had fun on those boats, like RMS Olympic or Mauritania, and then they were retired and they were sold for scrap. And I mentioned Olympic and Mauritania. The only reason that those are a little more well known is because Olympic was the class Titanic was a part of. Mauritania is the sister ship of Lusitania, the other most famous ocean liner to sink. So, so you look at this and you're like, yeah. So one statement's made that when ships sink, they last longer actually.
For sure.
And they gain a fame they would never, at least for ocean, it's like an ocean gains a fame we would never have otherwise. Now, a warship's a little different, but but a warship's a little different in terms of the fame department. But the USS Enterprise, we broke that up in the 1950s. Which, by the way, you know what I just found out from Brock's channel? Did you guys know the USS Hartford, the ship Farragut led up the Mississippi River to go capture New Orleans,
Not bad.
was scrapped in the 1950s? Like, that's how long that boat lasted. People were like, wow, how do we keep it going? Franklin Roosevelt was interested in trying to do something with it, but then he died. And America in the 1950s was very much like in historic destruction. So things like Hartford and Enterprise went away. Meanwhile, the Japanese carrier Akagi is just sitting there on the bottom of the ocean. It's a wreck, but it's still way more there than Enterprise is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And look, Sean knows about this. I don't know, Derek, if I told you about this, but so the shed in my backyard. Sean knows what I'm about to say.
Oh yeah,
you told me about this.
I told you about that. Okay, so
yeah.
I just got it in my head one day. I was like, we put up monuments to people and we name things after people, but there's really no standard. It's kind of the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Like if I became president, I could give it to anybody. There's no standard for the Presidential Medal of Freedom. I'm like, so there's no standard for what I could name my shed after. So my shed is the Colonel Muammar Gaddafi Memorial Center. I have a plaque made and everything on the wall. It's a picture of Gaddafi. He's in one of his finest uniforms. And on the bottom it says leader, author, teacher, genius.
Wow.
Yeah. And if you want, I can send you a picture of it because I don't have a picture on me right now. But I don't know. I thought it was funny.
Didn't you say it's also a gaming shed?
Yeah, because I keep all my gaming stuff back there too. So it's really the Colonel Muammar Gaddafi Memorial Gaming Center. My other plan in the future too is I want to put a Google tag for it online. So I want when people are on Google Maps scanning around my neighborhood, they'll see a tag for it.
Yeah, but now everybody will know that it's you.
Yeah, and they'll be like, Colonel Muammar Gaddafi Memorial Gaming Center.
Yeah.
That's my backyard shed. So, but what can I say? I don't know how to put this in words, but once again, you can name your shed after anything. There's no standard. There's no rules. So, after Gaddafi died, I was like, well, I guess my shed is now named after Gaddafi.
Actually, what would be kind of fucked up in a fun way would be to name your dog after Gaddafi.
Oh, I would so name my dog after some weird dictator. I'd like get a cat named Turkmenbashi.
Yeah. We have a dog, Idi Amin. Come here, boy.
Yeah, Idi.
Yeah, we'll do an Idi Amin stream sometime since that's the one I'm more interested in.
General Idi Amin Dada.
Yeah, for a number of reasons, you know. But I've been ready to do it. I haven't looked at it in a hot minute though. But do you guys have any more comments, or should we do super chats? Since Danny
I was gonna say,
I think there's a few for you around here.
Are there a few for me specifically?
I believe there's a few of them up here that.
There's one of them that addresses you directly.
Oh, okay, well then I'll do that one. Then I gotta go to bed.
All right. So first one is from Royston S. Bailey for £2. Thank you, Royston. And he says, "Yay, let's fucking go." Thank you, Royston. Next up we have Seymour Butts for $4.99. Thank you, Seymour Butts, for your Bart Simpson reference. He says, "Thank you for all the quality streams. 2 questions: Bush or no Bush? And Sean, why do you not consider the Byzantines to be Romans? Where do you draw the line?"
Shit!
I draw the line.
I would play it so badly though.
Be Roman and be Christian. I think Byzantines are like mutant Romans. You know,
Yeah,
simple as that.
you can call yourself Roman all day. Like I can call my shit Gaddafi Memorial Center all day. You know, also the Byzantines aren't winners.
Well, I mean, they survived.
They are survivors. They are survivors.
Yeah, they are survivors.
Well, they will win a lot of battles with Ring of Fire. So they win a lot of defensive victories. And then also Basil II will conquer some pretty large swaths of land.
I mean, the Byzantine. I mean, a lot of Byzantine shit is objectively good. You know, but
Yeah, when's the next Emperor stream, man? We gotta get to Isaac II, the other guy who shows up in Genghis Khan too.
Yeah, I don't know when I'll be doing that one. A lot of those later emperors I don't know super well. I've also been struggling mightily to get through Constantine IX because his reign is only about 13 or 14 years, but it's crazy complicated. Actually, wait, it's less than that, it's 12 years.
12 years.
But yeah, a whole lot of shit happens in time.
Yeah, and I guess I'll throw my lot behind no Bush.
Or is he talking about Bush as in, you know, on a woman, or are we talking about George W. Bush?
I don't know. Either way,
About both.
either way, I'm gonna go no Bush.
Yeah. I mean,
It won't let me scroll up that far. It's just some of these other super chats.
All right, continue on.
well, anyway, Alice Grimm for, whoa, what the fuck? My tab just crashed. Hold on, let me pull it back. That was very sudden.
Oh, you're a cunt.
All right.
Fucking cunt!
So we're back in. I think we're okay. That was pretty weird. Alright. Okay. Alice Grimm for $5. Thank you, Alice. Watch your back, Thersites. Sean's got a bayonet. I bet he probably does have one.
I do have a bayonet.
Yeah, Sean's a bayonet.
Yeah, I got
Yeah.
a bayonet. One.
I think you showed that to me one time when I was at your place.
Probably did, man. I haven't taken it out in a while, though.
Wow,
So
so
I can't find the German World War U-boat binoculars I had. Or just German World War I binoculars. Can't find them. I got all my other historical, various military treasures, though.
Alright. Royston S. Bailey for £2 again. Thank you, Royston. Was Muammar Gaddafi the most likable modern dictator?
Ooh. I mean, well, I'll tell you what. In terms of just like, you know, one that you feel like you could hang out with, maybe. Also, I mean, he definitely cruel, definitely did some fucked up shit, but I've seen way worse. So I don't know. I mean,
Yeah, 'cause I mean-
like yes.
I feel like he's got to be just about. I can't think of any dictator who is more palatable or more close to being palatable, because I mean, Gaddafi did sex trafficking on an Epstein level, at least, at a minimum, probably a lot more, because he ran a whole country.
Right.
But if we compare it by the standards of dictators, that's child's play. And if his chemical weapon collection is just a bunch of bullshit old cans of mustard gas, I mean, Gaddafi was the starter level dictator in terms of just evil.
Well, he's no desert madman, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. If you're talking about those like dictators, I mean, once again, you're kind of the lowest common denominator in the conversation. You know, but it's like, yeah, which one would I probably feel safe around? Probably Gaddafi.
Yeah,
Maybe I feel safe with some of the others.
right. I mean, I would feel safe meeting with him in a neutral country, maybe not on his own home turf. But then again, I don't think he had a super explosive temper 90% of the time, because I mean, we talked about how he retreated into the desert rather than just killing people. So,
Run the desert, just run the desert out. He found it.
yeah, so I mean, I would definitely trust him a lot more than any dictator I can think of, because I mean, a lot of those guys would just pull out a gun and shoot you right on the spot. I've never heard of Gaddafi personally doing violence to people in that way. And then, of course, he had his camel massacre, but I'm not a camel, so...
I mean,
Well, he doesn't have a leg up on. So you're telling me he has a leg up on Idi Amin, is what you're telling me.
Yeah, or I mean, or Papa Doc, or Baby Doc, or the guys in Cambodia.
Khmer Rouge, yeah.
Yeah, the Khmer Rouge.
yeah.
What's next?
Alright, Backdoor Wolf for $20, thank you, Lance. He says, Daniel, remember El Baño.
Oh my god. So I'm playing the remake of Resident Evil 4 right now, and there's a famous incident in the game where you go into this house, and it's like the mayor's house in the village, and when you go in, there's a zombie who emerges out of the bathroom, and if you go up the stairs and you go in front of him, he just goes back in the bathroom and shuts the door. So he's called El Baño.
Is that in the remake of 4 or just the original?
It's in the original and the remake.
Awesome.
But anyway, I sent a picture to Lance the other night because I kind of forgot about Albania. Like I sort of forgot exactly where he was. So I opened the door and he attacked me. So I shot him. And then
Completely
Lance was like, how dare you kill
just
Albania? And I was like, he provoked me.
as a massive fuck up.
But yeah,
I thought
if you
about
actually Google Albania, you'll see pictures of him. You know, he really is just a zombie sitting in the bathroom by himself.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, Quinn Thompson for $7.99
You
Australian. Thank Quinn.
fucking
What do you think on the
bitch ended around
Israel-Palestinian
to.
conflict? Does this end in the mass expulsion of Palestinians? And can Israel ever repair its image?
Oh my god, I have to go to bed.
I know. I think you're I think the only one asking you directly is over. So yeah, go don't stay. Don't get involved in this one question.
Yeah, I was gonna say, this question right here. How many hours do we have?
It's hard to say.
Well, my only take is like, for a long, long time, like maybe 10, 15 years, I believe that this is only going to end with the Palestinians being ethnically cleansed and with Israel taking more territory, because you're talking about an expanding, confident population that is relatively coherent. Not coherent. I'm trying to say, like, most have the same religion, same backgrounds. I mean, groups like that in history tend to conquer territory, tend to do things that they're doing right now. It's in many ways unremarkable.
Yeah, and another thing we can thank Bush for his message to Sharon. So
Yeah, well,
long-term consequences.
But I would like to say, when I say unremarkable, isn't it horrifying? I'm like, well, I believe the horrifying is, in a way, in many cases, unremarkable. I mean, we're people. I don't know. I guess when you read, like, Caesar's Gallic War, that had a big effect on me. The way I think about these sort of things and the way they turn out in the end.
Right. I mean, I assume that a lot of the Palestinians will be allowed to leave. I mean, I think that's Israel's goal, is to have them voluntarily asked to leave. The problem is finding a place to put them. And the Middle East has limited resources. I mean, so, like, Egypt, for instance, if they took them, they have to find water and housing and food for them. And that's not something that they're in a position to do easily. So it is a major humanitarian crisis, and
Oh my god.
I mean,
How
the
did
fact
I
the U.S. just keeps
up
backing
down like
Israel on
this?
this and allowing them to get away
But
with
it's
it,
not an up down, but
they really have no right to expel them from the country. There's no justification for it. But I don't know if they... I think at this point that's what might likely happen, is a mass expulsion. In terms of Israel's image, though, I don't think anybody's ever going to be tricked again into thinking that Israel is the good guy in the Middle East. Those days are over.
Yeah, it in some ways won't matter if they have that much blackmail information on Western leaders, which is what I think. But I think Israel's thing is probably going to be like, okay, we did it, so what are you going to do to us? Now, I'm not saying there's not consequences. They're a heavily sanctioned country. Their people can't really travel around as freely in a lot of cases, or if they do, they got to lie about where they're from.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, their self-image. I mean, look, any country's self-image can improve within a few generations, but Israel's is not going to improve for a long time. And
Yeah, 'cause, I mean, we're at a point where, I mean, racism has, been a problem throughout human history. But I think the level of racism that Israelis have been showing recently, even on an international stage, is unacceptable. Even a lot of people who are fairly racist hear them talk about Palestinians and say, God damn.
Yeah, although there's a whole element with that, because a lot of the racists in America also don't really like Jews and think they've engineered the West's decline, so you got to keep that in mind too. It's a really big nasty clusterfuck we're all in right now. And one thing's for certain though, America's backing of this has also greatly damaged the way we're viewed in the world. And moral grandstanding about Ukraine was always hollow, considering we did in other countries such as Iraq, but now it's even more hollow. So,
Yeah.
it's whatever, but never morally grandstand. It's unbecoming.
I guess one little anecdotal ray of sunshine in all this is that there was one person I knew who was really tied in with Israel and used to talk about Palestinians being cockroaches and all that shit. And that was the first time I really encountered that attitude of just Jewish supremacism and, just treating Palestinians as subhuman. Well, I actually saw this person's Facebook post. I haven't seen her post in years. And she actually is against the genocide and for freeing the Palestinians. So she has made a remarkable transformation for the better. So,
I wonder
credit to that person.
I gotta wonder. I had an ex-Jewish girlfriend who was a similar thing with her. Because I was like, because one time she was very progressive. I was like, hey, everybody's got a regressive view or a conservative view or a reactionary, whatever word you want to use for it. And she's like, tell you the truth, Sean, I just think Palestinians are animals and need to be exterminated. And she wasn't lying. She's like, they're gross, they're disgusting, they don't do anything, they're just taking up resources, And I wonder what she's thinking right now, or if she's even thinking really. She wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed.
Right.
I mean, she used to watch Weekend at Bernie's and The Birdcage on repeat. Like, she'd wake up and just put those on in the background. Now, I've been accused of her shining on the background a little too much, but not like she did Weekend at Bernie's, okay?
Yeah, I mean, two good movies, but come on, over and over again. All right.
No, I would just show up to her apartment and she'd just have Weekend at Bernie's on.
Damn.
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess on that note, good night.
Oh wait, Dan, you like this though? At one point, I convinced her. Let's just put something different on. So as a joke, we played The Omen with Gregory Peck.
Oh, that's similar to Weekend at Bernie's and themes.
Oh, I guess there are a couple more I'll read for you, Danny, before you go then.
Oh, okay.
So here's one for you. Mark Benevento for 49. Thank you, Mark. Gaddafi, the Monty Python of dictatorships.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna agree with that because I think there are some moments, especially in the coup, even the coup that worked, had kind of a yakety sax sort of thing going on.
Right.
Like a lot of things he tried to do seriously did turn out to be a bit of a comedy of errors. So I agree with that assessment.
Or there's another one, Alice Grimm for $5. Thank you, Alice. You don't understand, man. I was gonna take over the whole world when that cow walked into my car.
Yeah, I mean, if that cow hadn't gotten in the way, the moon and the stars would have been his.
Yeah. And here's probably the best one for you, Danny. Nimble Saul for 20 pounds. Saddam's greatest literary work was the Quran. He had written in his own blood.
Wow, that's real.
I don't know. I think that's just a joke, but let's find out.
Oh, I mean, if he did, that's metal as fuck.
Can't believe I'm piping in this question. Yes. Saddam Hussein commissioned the Quran to be written with his own blood in the late 90s, a project that took 2 years to complete. This book, known as the Blood Quran, is a macabre relic of his reign that has become a major dilemma for Iraqi authorities. This happened in 1997. It was a birthday present for his 60th birthday.
Jesus, see, that's already darker than almost anything Gaddafi did.
Except the refrigerator.
Except for the stuff we're unsure that Gaddafi did.
Right.
Wow. All right, well, I guess that'll be in my nightmares.
Yeah.
That's
So-
perfect. Oh my god.
So,
Okay,
you know,
all right.
all right, well, Danny, thank you for tonight. Thank you for joining us and providing us with a look into the mind of Muammar Gaddafi.
Oh, you're very welcome, and all I can say is dictators. What can you do?
Yeah.
All right,
Dictators.
bye, y'all.
Dictators
They put the
can't... Go ahead.
I said dictators. They put the dick in dictator.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dictators.
If the Gaddafi refrigerator story's true, he might have had some dicks in there.
He probably did. Man. All right, next up is John Murdoch for $5. Thank you, John. He said, then a drop of 5 for giving Gaddafi a spotlight. Remember when he mocked Reagan as senile and crawling on all fours?
Yeah, I also like when he called Reagan an imbecile. I just love the word imbecile.
Well, I mean, Gaddafi was kind of an imbecile too, though.
It's still, I like, you know,
Yeah.
just, I just like to just, you know, be calling the guy who just bombed you an imbecile, you know. Anyways, what do we got next?
Josh G for $20. Thank you, Josh. He said, love your streams. Keep it up. Well, thank you, Josh. Clumpy for $7. Thank you, Clumpy. How would you guys define the political classifications of right and left, and how far back in the human history can they be meaningfully applied? Well, that's a loaded question.
Well, it's very, very broad.
Yeah.
I mean, like, that'd be a whole stream discussing it. You know, probably American, French, and Haitian revolutions would be the ones that define it for us, roughly. You know, and that would, but even then, that would have to do with even then, the ability which both right and left will borrow from each other and change things. How should we say, happens all the time. You know, so lines also get very blurry too, in many regards.
Right. In terms of using those terms in ways people would understand them, I think that the American way of looking at left and right, because of the dominance of American media, is now recognizable around the world. Because it used to be that in some countries, right-wing meant what we think of as left-wing. So progressivism was on the right, conservatism was on the left. But now everybody kind of uses the American standard of conservatives are on the right, progressives, socialists, etc., all on the left.
I mean, I'd like to see where the phrase even exactly comes from as well. And I don't know. I increasingly get more critical of the idea of a right and left, as opposed to more of just a general political philosophy, which can draw from political philosophies can draw from multiple different sources and ideas. You know, so
Right.
I guess I think more in terms of like the name of ideologies now, more so than I do right and left. And I use right and left maybe as a shorthand that's it. For me, if I use right or left, I use it as a shorthand for what I'm talking about, what's happening immediately. You know,
Right.
applying it to the past and super tricky. And as de Tocqueville pointed out, the French revolutionaries in many ways just completed the Bourbon centralization project.
Right. Yeah, I guess too, it depends on what about someone makes them left or right, like which qualities, which issues, or even just general parts of their philosophy do you put the most weight on. So I think we talked about this before. For me, what defines left and right most is their economic stance.
Yeah, and I know a whole bunch of people think that economics can go either way, and they'll point out all sorts of people who are quote-unquote right, who are economically what you would consider to the left of contemporary Americans, and that they would see it more about social values.
Exactly, yeah. I mean,
oh, go ahead, sorry.
and to bring that back to Gaddafi, I mean, like we said, economically, he was definitely on the left by modern standards, no question. But also, socially, by American standards, he'd be on the right. By Middle Eastern standards, he'd probably be about center, maybe center-left on social issues.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that about standards as well. You know, and also, I mean, being economically, for lack of a better term, left, but right-wing socially is pretty damn common in human history. I think Corey Robin might have a good, just general definition, which is, the degree to which you believe in human liberation. Okay? Might be one of the better standards overall. or that people should have more rights or more freedoms, or that things should be more democratic, I think is one of the better ones overall. And
Right.
economically, that can fall in a lot of different ways. Like, for instance, some of the French revolutionaries, right? They're deregulators.
Yeah.
You know, many ways, the laissez-faire, you know, wasn't coined by Adam Smith per se. He got that from studying the physiocrats in France, who, you know, a guy like Murray Rothbard would give a thumbs up to in many ways. So, you know, there you go. So anyways, what do we got next?
Next up, we have, let's see, Mark Benevento again for $5. Thank you, Mark. Was Rock the Casbah, excuse me, the song about Gaddafi this whole time?
I don't really know the lyrics to that song. That's by The Clash, isn't it?
I think so, yeah. I can hear the song in my head, but I don't remember enough of the lyrics.
Yeah, I'm not really a big fan of The Clash or punk in general. I mean, they have a few good songs. That one's pretty good, but I never really stopped to think about it ever. I mean, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. All right, Royston S. Bailey for $5. Thank you, Royston. I know Thersites said Hitler's been done to death, but I believe y'all will have a fresh take on the old Fuhrer. Come on, don't leave Hitler hanging.
Well, I mean, you know, if you want to get into, I mean, you know, in some ways, A.G.P. Taylor's view on Hitler is still fresh compared to how people view him nowadays.
Yeah.
That was decades ago, you know. I know we'll have our own. I know we'll be discussing him soon because we're in that World War II stream starting next week.
Yeah, so he'll come up. Also, my favorite thing about Hitler that I learned recently, it's just a take on Hitler. So Mark Maron was making fun of Theo Von for having highly superficial, bro-y, brain-dead takes on shit. And he said that if Theo Von was contemporary of Hitler, he'd have had him on a stream. And he said, bro, I don't even, believe that you hated the Jews, man. I think you were just on some shit. And when you're on shit, you know, it makes you feel things that you don't really feel. You know what I'm saying, bro? I think you're a good guy.
Who the hell is Theo Von? I've heard his name before.
He's a popular right-wing podcaster. He was kind of popularized along with, I don't know if he's quite in the Rogan sphere or whether he's adjacent to it, but he's one of those guys who has a lot of access to people who are now in positions of power. Just had a lot of big guests, and he became really popular in the last couple of years.
Okay, yeah, I've heard his name before, but I don't even know what he looks like, you know?
Yeah, I mean,
he can like Andrew for all I know.
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of those new guys who are new podcasters, they just have people on and just talk bro stuff and never ask any deep, meaningful questions, but they're the ones who get access to all the top interviews.
Well, do you think the people in charge who are like, you know, or people like of status or money or power want to have a deep conversation with you, or do you think they want to just, you know, show off to look good? I mean, remember Barbara Walters back in the day? I'm not talking Barbara Walters in the late 70s where she did interviews with the Shah of Iran, where she was taking some chances. I mean, you know, think about the 90s, you know, fake sympathy and softball questions. I mean, that's a long thing here, man, you know. If anything, they're just doing the bro-y version of Barbara Walters, I guess.
Kind of, yes. Except also Theo Von, I believe, is even... Because, I mean, Rogan has turned more or less just completely openly Republican in a way where he doesn't talk to anybody else anymore. Whereas Theo Von, I don't think he's ever been anything but just a Republican bro. I mean, that being said, I don't know much about him other than his interview style is total shit. I find him impossible to watch. And also, I love the Mark Maron impression, just shitting on him.
Yeah, I haven't watched anything with Rogan in a while. I think I watched Tim Dillon on there and Bob Gimlin, who does Bigfoot videos.
Actually,
talk about Bigfoot.
Actually, Tim Dillon is the only one in that group whose views are sort of holding in terms of retaining an audience. The rest of them are in free fall.
Oh yeah, they are.
Including Rogan. Yeah, Rogan's dropped a lot. I think he's lost over half his audience.
Is this a case of like Rush Limbaugh? Because remember Rush Limbaugh?
Wait, really?
In the 90s, he had like a monster radio show. He had like 20 million.
This is 7 months ago.
Right. Then he has the OxyContin stuff, and it's around the time of 9/11, which is when he got very unfunny and got very dead serious, you know? Because in the 90s, used to be kind of there's like shock jockey funniness to him that disappeared in the aughts. That disappeared a lot of Republicans. Remember, Republicans just lost their sense of humor, you know? And you know, he lost like 40 to 50% of his audience, but he still was the #1 radio show because his numbers at the very top for Rush Limbaugh were just so high. I mean, like insane, 20 million. I think it dropped like 10 or 11 million, but you're still #1. Oh, it's like the Beatles, you know. The Beatles, when they started doing the psychedelic music, lost half the record sales, dropped by like 40%. Didn't matter. They're still like, you know, they were #1 by leaps and bounds beyond anything anybody else had.
Well, the thing is, though, Joe Rogan's drop has been enough that he's no longer #1. I think he's down to maybe 6 or 7. Like, he's dropped quite a bit from being far and away #1 to barely being top 10.
Yeah, I was never like a... Well, I guess not. I want to say never. There was a year there where I listened to him a fair amount, but that was maybe 2019, 2020, but... Yeah, I was never like a... Well, I guess not. I want to say never. There was a year there where I listened to him
maybe 6 or 7. Like, he's dropped quite a bit. I think he's down to...
by leaps and bounds beyond anything anybody else had.
Well, the thing is, though, Joe Rogan's drop has been enough that he's no longer #1. I think he's down to maybe 6 or 7. Like, he's dropped quite a bit from being far and away #1 to barely being top 10.
Yeah, I was never like a... Well, I guess not. I want to say never. There was a year there where I listened to him a fair amount, but that was maybe 2019, 2020. But last 2-3 years, I barely listened to the guy.
Yeah, you mean back when he actually had good guests and a variety of guests?
Yeah, I guess that was it, man. Like I said, I had to do I had to listen to the Bob Gimlin one just because I watch his videos all the time because I think cryptids are fascinating and he's just got a very good style. Agree or disagree with him, he's an excellent storyteller, at least, So,
Yeah.
anyways, I was gonna say, so who's number one then?
I don't remember. I don't know most of the podcasters, and a lot of these are relatively newish podcasts that have just shot up. I think it actually is a political podcast though that took the number one spot. I can't remember the name of it. I want to say it's Midas Touch. I don't know.
Never heard of it, man.
Yeah.
Well, anything's gonna be better than doing Destiny or Vosh, among other things. Or God, remember Dave Rubin?
Yeah, unfortunately I do. Dave Rubin is still around.
They know about Destiny or Vosh? That's really funny.
It's funny because he first launched. I listened to a few of his.
Yeah.
Well, anything's gonna be better than doing Destiny or Vosh, among other things. Or God, remember Dave Rubin?
Yeah. That have just shot up. I think it actually is a political podcast though that took the number one spot. I can't remember the name of it. I want to say it's Midas Touch. I don't know.
Never heard of it, man.
Yeah.
Well, anything's gonna be better than doing Destiny or Vosh, among other things. Or God, remember Dave Rubin?
Yeah, unfortunately I do. Dave Rubin is still around.
That's funny because he first launched. I listened to a few of his things, but there was one of his I really liked. It was the one where he talked to Larry King. I actually was like, oh, I actually really like that one.
You mean the one where Larry
Also,
King took a phone call from his son for like 5 goddamn minutes in the middle of the interview?
I think so, man. It was fun, man. I liked it.
Yeah, no, but Larry King just walked all over him and he just sat there.
Well, was that it? I mean, it's Larry King. He doesn't really give a shit at that point, I had to see that just because I grew up with Larry King. Also, Larry King really actually was one of those guys who'd have on just about everybody. He was infamous for giving Ross Perot more of a platform and letting him talk more than most people. The joke used to be that when they were doing the breakdown of how reporters would vote for president in 1992, they were like, well, 90% or something they polled were going to vote for Clinton. And they said 1% voted for Perot. And I'm like, well, I guess it's Larry King and his whole staff.
Yeah.
But no, I haven't watched anything with Dave Rubin since like 2018, maybe 2019.
Right.
What?
Yeah, that was when he was getting his big push. When he first left TYT, did his Why Left the Left thing, and then he got his own show, got a bunch of money. Actually, a lot of his money came from some shady Russian billionaire. And he was getting paid crazy money to do a 30-minute interview every week. So he's making almost more than any other person in the country who does that line of work. And his show was only, I think, half an hour, maybe a full hour once a week.
I think I'd have to look it up. I want to say the one with Larry King was on the long side because it was more conversational. Because the one thing I've noticed about that one or any of these people is that if they're talking to somebody like that, they have a set way they're going to do things. So somebody like Dave Rubin will have like his canned statements. I'm not talking about necessarily verbal tics, but canned statements of things you're trying to go at. Trying to say, we're like, this person's actually your friend. You're just having him on the show, and you're both on the show because you're hoping both of you will boost the other one up.
Yeah.
Like you got a big audience, well, they'll see me, and then they'll listen to me, and blah, blah, blah. It's all very, it's all very, oh my God, I'm not that good with words today, I guess because I wrote too damn much today, but, it's all very, trying to get a leg up, stuff, sorry everybody, wish I was doing better with words. I think I spent all my eloquence on, Volume 3 of Petersburg today.
Yeah, so the thing about the Larry King thing, though, was Larry King just was talking about his son's minor league baseball career. He was just talking about whatever came to mind, because he's like, look, I just retired, I'm old, I don't give a fuck, I'll just talk about whatever I want to, and because I'm Larry King, people will watch it, so I don't care. And I got all day, I've got nothing going on today, so I'm just gonna hang out here as long as I want. The show will run until I'm done, no matter what you say as the host, and that's how it's gonna be, because I'm Larry motherfucking King.
Yeah, and also, it's funny you mentioned that. I remembered that because I like when they were just talking about baseball.
Yeah.
I was like, I guess because I was used to those like canned or even regimented interviews, I'm like, it just feels like I was actually listening to a conversation. Anyways, which sometimes we get on unpopular opinions, but academic agents shut that fucker down. Anyway, what do we got next?
Magister Militum for $2. Thank you, Double M. He says, can't believe Gaddafi smoked all those poor camels. Yeah, it's actually pretty fucked up. It's one of the more... I don't think it's as bad as the human sex trafficking or killing all the political opponents he killed, hundreds of them over the years, but it's still pretty fucked up.
Yeah, pretty messed up, man.
And not to mention counterproductive.
My reaction of what the fuck about that one is, I guess I wasn't seeing that coming, and I was like, wait, wasn't this guy like he grew up a Bedouin, right? But maybe that's why he's like, I have to look at another camel again, right?
Yeah, so maybe he was thinking like, I'm gonna do a big fucking stunt to show how modern I am, kill all the camels. And then he starts killing them, and he's like, wait a second, what reliance do we have on camels again? Oh fuck, okay, stop doing that immediately.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like his stunt with the jail. It didn't go too hot.
That stunt was pretty damn funny though, man. Him trying to drive a fucking a bulldozer through there.
And he didn't know how to drive one before they showed him, because he would have had no reason to know how a bulldozer works.
Yeah. So what do we got next?
Final question of the evening, Michael R. for $2. Thank you, Michael. Is Ibrahim Traore the new Gaddafi?
I don't know who that is.
Well, let's look him up real quick and see what we come up with. The name sounds familiar.
Well, even if you pull him up, I can't say because I just don't know anything about the guy.
Yeah, he popped right up. He is an African dictator, Prince of the Sahel. I don't recognize him. I recognize the name. I know he's been in the news. I don't know enough about him to say. But he definitely has a look kind of like Gaddafi. He does do the beret thing, which I guess is relatively common for African rulers. He's meeting Putin here. He's tall as shit too. Like this guy's a pretty big guy.
Yeah, I can't see anything because the thing just crashed on my end.
Okay.
Just now.
He's also pretty young, so I guess he probably has a long time ahead of him. He's in Burkina Faso, okay. Which I believe, when I was in high school, at least Burkina Faso was the poorest country on the planet.
I believe. Well, they kicked the French out in the last few years, and I know they let Wagner in there or something, but I don't know a ton about him.
Yeah, apparently he just won a coup relatively recently. So let's see, when was his coup? It's 2022, late 2022. So, I'll have to look more into him. I honestly don't know much, so I can't really say a whole lot. But I mean, he gives off a little bit of that energy, I guess. I don't know. Well, my stream crashed again, so I guess this is as good a time as any to call it a night.
Yeah. All right, man. Good listening to you two go on about him. You know, I learned a hell of a lot from both of you about Gaddafi because like I said, I only knew the few things I could add in there and then the questions I had. But yeah, good stuff, man. Thanks. Good to be on.
Yeah, it was a fun stream. I'm glad we were able to do that because I've been curious about Gaddafi for a long time, but up until now, I haven't really investigated him in any detail. And it's also, I've been curious about the Green Book since I was an undergrad because I remember learning about that in a class I took called Islam and Politics. And, you know, it's always something that's been on my thing of stuff I want to read before I die. So I got that checked off. So that was pretty cool.
So I know that the next 4 weeks is going to be the World War II real macro level stream going over the course of the war, grand strategy.
Right.
And October was what? Shenandoah 1854? Hello?
All right, that was a bad mic.
I think he went out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
my mic just, I don't know what the fuck that was, but...
Yeah, no, so we're doing Shenandoah 64 divided into 2 and John Carpenter movies in October.
Yeah, sounds good. What was the other one for October? So Shenandoah, 2 parts, John Carpenter, and...
That actually might be it because by October's a busy month for me, so... You know, like I mean, I've been able to do these once. I've been able to do these. I'm gonna be able to do them in September as well because September looks busier than August. August has been apocalyptically bad work-wise, but it's really October's always a busy month. October, yeah. So sorry, October and November are busy months, especially October. So I may only be able to do 3 streams.
Okay.
I mean, if I can fit more in, I'll let you know. But those are 3 I can definitely commit to: is John Carpenter movies and the Shenandoah Valley in 2 parts. And for those, we'll need to set us time because I'm going to bring in somebody who wrote about the Battle of Newmarket for Shenandoah, but she'll need to know about 2 weeks in advance to plan.
Okay.
And that'll be Sarah K. Borelli, who's a very good presenter as well.
All right. Sounds pretty cool.
All right. So no, that's that's pretty much it on my end, man.
All right. Well, then that's what it'll be. So in September, everybody, 4 parts on World War II, macro level overview. We'll see what else we get into from there. And then in October, we have the Shenandoah in 2 parts and the filmography of Mr. John Carpenter. All right. So that does it for now. Until next time, Thersites the Historian. See you around soon, hopefully on Friday for a video on Cato Licinianus. So see you guys then.